All right, so I have a statement to make, and we're gonna use numbers because that always helps me collect my thoughts a little bit better. One, I'm giving away a super cool prize if you pick the winner of MLS Cup on my MLS Cup playoff preview from 2 days ago. So go watch it for like 30 seconds, take a guess as to who you think is gonna win, and then maybe you'll win the prize too. Though, you should just watch the games because they've been amazing so far. And two, I finally got highlights on my channel, full ones, of the best goals in MLS this past season, which if they were scored in Europe, you would be like, oh my God, that was the best goal of all time. But if they happen here, you're like, oh dude, the goalkeepers and the defenders, well, they suck in MLS.
You guys are closed-minded haters.
So as an example, this is when I remind you that David De Gea sucked in the World Cup. Anyway, let's do this. It's previews and predictions time where I break down my top 5 matchups around the world this weekend while keeping my eyes on a few others. And in at number 5 is Real Madrid versus Real Valladolid, because fun fact, Valladolid might have to be considered the favorites in this one since they currently sit in 7th in the table while Madrid are in 9th, which due to this unacceptable start to their season, it led to the sacking of their now ex-manager Juan Lopetegui, who after getting fired by Spain 2 days before the World Cup for taking this Madrid job without telling anyone at the Spanish Federation, well, he got fired from Madrid 4 months later, so I get the sense that he might not have a job for a while, which means the moral of the story is be careful what you wish for. He got the Madrid job, but he also got all the expectations and politics and crap that comes with it, and he couldn't survive. Also, can we talk again about how much of a genius Zinedine Zidane is for leaving Los Blancos when he did, which is just another example of how immense Zidane's vision and anticipatory skills are? I mean, he knew that Madrid were going to implode. Anyway, all this poor form can't just fall on Lopetegui's shoulders either. The players need to step up and take responsibility, and not just 1 or 2 or 3 of them, but all of them. And given the fact that Valladolid have won their last 3 away games, they should prove to be a formidable opponent at the Bernabeu. So we'll see how Madrid fight their way out of this adversity with their new caretaker manager in charge, Santiago Solari. Now, my guess is that they'll get that new coach bump, which happens anytime there's a change in the coaching position. But you never know. But no, I guess I kind of know. They're going to absolutely slay Valladolid 3-0. That's what's going to happen. And up next, it's Fiorentina versus Roma, because I had high hopes for both of these teams this season, and now I'm a little worried. They have the same record, so that means they're both already 13 points behind Juventus after 10 games. They both haven't won in the league in a few weeks. Their form is uneven, and their top players are underachieving. In Roma's case, their defending has been pretty poor by their standards, only notching 3 clean sheets so far in Serie A, while Fiorentina have only scored 10 goals in 9 league games since scoring 6 against Chievo on the opening day of the season. But maybe Roma's inconsistent defending is just what Fiorentina needs to get back on track, especially for Giovanni Simeone, who was surprisingly dropped last weekend after he's only scored 2 goals in 10 league games. So maybe that isn't as surprising. So we'll see if he gets the nod to start again and if he can hit the back of the net along with his teammates. But Roma did draw 1-1 with Napoli in Napoli last week, so that should give them some confidence in another tough fixture away from home this weekend. So I'll say 1-1 again. And coming in at number 3, it's the Portland Timbers versus the Seattle Sounders in leg 1 of the quarterfinals of the MLS Cup playoffs, because it's gonna be lit, fam. Do people still say that? Do they? I don't think they still say that, but they should, because this is one of the best rivalries in all of MLS, and this is the best way to describe it. Also, this 2-legged series will mark the 4th and 5th times that these 2 hated rivals will have faced each other this season. Portland won the first 2, while Seattle won the most recent meeting back in August. And this should be noted, the last and only time they faced each other in the MLS playoffs was back in 2013, and the Timbers won 5-3 over those 2 legs before they went on to win MLS Cup that season. So this could be a good omen for them. However, Seattle, after starting the season with 3 wins, 9 losses, and 3 draws, orchestrated the greatest turnaround in MLS history, going 15-2-2 over these last 4 months to lock up the number 2 seed and a first-round bye. So with all due respect to the Timbers, the speed and momentum that this freight train called the Sounders has built up isn't going to stop here. So I like the Sounders to win 2-1 in Portland for leg 1, and then 2-1 again in Seattle to move on to the semifinals. And then up next at number 2, it's Wolfsburg versus Borussia Dortmund, as the Black and Yellow, also known as the current league leaders in Germany, travel to Wolfsburg in search of their 7th league win of the season, and to keep their unbeaten streak alive, since they have yet to lose a game in all competitions this season, which is a testament to the leadership and philosophy and the rotation of players by their manager Lucien Favre, who seems to be pressing all the right buttons at the moment. moment. So I'd like to think that they're going to keep it up due to how hot Paco Alcacer and Jadon Sancho are, among many others on their team. But with Wolfsburg's 3-0 win over Dusseldorf last weekend and their 2-0 win over Hanover in the DFB Pokal midweek, it's the first time that they've won back-to-back games all season. So maybe that'll do the trick for them confidence-wise. That is until you realize that they've only won one league game at home all season. So because of that, because how hot Dortmund is, I think Dortmund's going to do the business and win 3-0. And then finally at number 1, it's Arsenal versus Liverpool, because it's been 13 games now without a loss for Arsenal. So I think it's time to admit to myself that this club has been reborn. And now there's something in the air surrounding the Emirates, and it's not pain or suffering or Arsenal fan TV trying to make money off of that pain and suffering. It's hope and it's belief, which is something the supporters have been craving for years, because all you really want as a fan is to believe you have a chance, and the Gunners now have that. But so does Liverpool, because despite going trophyless last season, they planted the seeds for future success, and they filled some voids over the summer, like shoring up their glaring weakness at goalkeeper, which in turn made their back line better, and by signing some key players to add more depth to their side so they can make a run at multiple trophies. But let's be honest, they only want one trophy, the Premier League, which is the only one they haven't won since 1990, and unfortunately which slipped away when they were so close to winning it in 2014. So in summation, this looks to be a great game between two opponents who are in peak form and who have seen 27 goals scored between them in their last 5 meetings, and I really feel like that trend won't end this weekend, especially because Arsenal are in the midst of an injury crisis, especially in the back, and specifically at outside back, or fullbacks, as you guys like to call them across the pond, which means Granit Xhaka might have to play again on the left, while Steven Lichtsteiner fills in for Hector Bellerin on the right. So I can only imagine the smiles that will be on Sadio Mane and Mohamed Salah's faces as they look to run right at and then pass both of those guys on the outside. So because of that, I like Liverpool to win this 3-1. Now, had Arsenal been fully healthy, I would have said 2-2 because I love that scoreline. And here's some other games I'll be keeping these things on this weekend. Oh yeah! Like all the top 4 clubs in Turkey, because they're all playing each other. Istanbul Başakşehir, who are currently riding their first place positioning on the coattails of their incredible defense, who've only conceded 4 goals all season, take on Beşiktaş, who are struggling. And that's me being kind, just saying that they're struggling, because they've just one win in their last 5 and haven't beaten Başakşehir in 3 years, but maybe that makes Başakşehir right for the upset. And then there's the biggest and fiercest fixture in the whole country, Galatasaray versus Fenerbahçe, also known as the Intercontinental Derby, as the reigning Turkish Super League champions Galatasaray, who are currently 2 points off of the top, look to add to Fener's misery, because Fener are terrible this season and even worse than Beşiktaş, and that's saying a lot. They currently sit in 15th. They just sacked their manager. They can't score goals despite adding Andre Ayew and Islam Slimani in the summer, and they cannot defend either. So they are the current train wreck of Turkey, so I'm very curious to see how they're going to perform in this one. And then I'll be spying the Newcastle Jets versus the Melbourne Victory, because the Victory, who are the reigning league champions in Australia, are the only team in the A-League who have yet to earn any points this season, and this is with them adding Japanese hero Keisuke Honda. So we'll see if a real Newcastle team, not like the crap one over in England, can keep that trend going, or if the Victory can get like an actual victory. And then I'll be keeping my eyes on 4th place Sao Paulo versus 2nd place Flamengo in the Brasileiro, because after Flamengo's 1-1 draw with league leaders Palmeiras last weekend, the gap at the top is only 4 points with 7 games to go. So this is a huge one for both teams, since Sao Paulo is only 7 points back at the top as well. And then I won't be watching it this weekend because it's not on, but I did want to mention that River Plate and Boca Juniors both made it to the Copa Libertadores final after their midweek results, which means for the first time ever, we will have 2 Super Clásicos, since the Copa Libertadores has a 2-legged final, to determine who is the best club in all of South America. And that is what's up. That is awesome, and I wish I could go, and maybe I should. And then I'll be keeping tabs on PSV Eindhoven versus Vitesse, if only to see if Vitesse can take any points off of the perfect through 10 games PSV, who are absolutely steamrolling everyone in Holland so far this season. And then finally, I'll be focused on Pumas versus Cruz Azul, because not only is this a huge game in determining who's going to finish where in the table for Liga MX, which will determine playoff seeding, since Pumas are in 4th place, 2 points off of the top, while Cruz Azul sit in 3rd, 1 point off the top. It's also huge because Cruz Azul are coming off a midweek capture of the Copa MX, Mexico's cup competition, which is the first trophy of any kind that Cruz Azul has won since 2013. And I want to see if that gives them a boost this weekend or if they have a letdown, which would be a natural response. Anyway, that is it. That is all I got except for this. Predict the right score for Arsenal versus Liverpool, and if you get it exactly right, you'll be entered to win some Warm Ballers gear. That's right, stay warm, everyone. Also, I know I have to announce the winners from last week, which I will do on Monday, and I also have to reach out to some of you in general. But I've been traveling a lot, so please be patient with me. I'm doing my best. And all right, I'm done. Have a good or bad weekend, everyone. Later.